Hello, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Today, there is actually some new information I actually have to thank another YouTube content creator for this information because she obtained it through a FOIL request, or that's the acronym. It's known as Freedom of Information Law. And she went through all the work to get the audio of Jennifer Soto's interview by the same female detective who interviewed Stefan Stearns. And I really I don't know what the name of the female detective is. She's got a really good way about her in soliciting information and coming across to the person being interviewed as not judgmental, but soliciting the information and not in her voice. Obviously, I didn't see her. This was an audio recording. In her voice, letting on that she's at all shocked or surprised at the information that she's hearing. So my whole dissertation, or sort of way I'm looking at this case today, Jennifer Soto, new interview released, and the interview was from 2/27/24. So we know that Madeline went missing on the 26th. So this is Jennifer Soto being interviewed on the next day. And I don't mean to be coy or a wise guy or anything, but it's on the thumbnail. It says, is she complicit or is she just dumb? And if that upsets some of you, a detective one time I had on the show named Mikey Heinrichs, a really heroic detective. In an interview, he said to this, or he said on this interview on this TV station about the interview of this woman, he goes, is she just playing dumb or is she really dumb? I have that same question about Jennifer Soto. Is she playing dumb or is she actually just dumb? Because the answers she gave in this interview, to me, are outrageous. And to me, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD, 16 years in the Detective Bureau, I haven't heard thousands of interviews, some for murder, some for rape, some for horrific assaults, some for child abuse. I think that she's full of shit. I think she knows exactly what happened and when it happened, at the time it happened, and the place it happened. But yet, we haven't seen handcuffs thrown on Jennifer Soto, have we? That could be strategic, couldn't it? Is there a statute of limitations for murder? The answer is no, there is not. Could they go through Stefan Stearns' trial, the first trial, for the 60 charges, felonious charges based on what was in his cell phone? Could they go through that trial? And then could they go through the homicide trial and, I believe, find Stefan Stearns guilty? And after that, could they then arrest Jennifer Soto and charge her with murder? Yes, they could do that. Will they do that? Is that their strategy? I don't know. We're from New York. We're impatient people, I would have already slapped the cuffs on her. She would have already been arrested. But perhaps the Kissimmee police have a strategic reason why she hasn't been arrested yet. I cannot believe that they believe that she's not involved based on the answers and the lies that she told in these interviews. And when we look at body language, to me, body language says so much. Body language experts say that anywhere from 70 to 90% of a message is transmitted via body language. So I guess your words don't matter, right? Anywhere from 70 to 90%. So when you look at Jennifer Soto's body language, you're sort of baffled by it. Does she really not give a shit? Or is she a dummy? Or is she so drugged up? And I also believe that she's mentally ill. I really do. I think she's got, and that's not, many people Most people in this world have a touch of mental illness, but I think she's got more than a touch of it because she doesn't have these motherly instincts. Your daughter's missing. And she probably knew, not just was her daughter missing, your daughter's dead. And you're sitting there with that dumb look on your face, or you're standing there with that dumb look on your face and giving answers that don't make any sense. Here's the dumb looking face that she had in that TV interview, you know? There it is, that dummy looking face. And here's the face, what I would consider the face of a mother, next to her daughter, Madeline. They both almost look happy, you know? But then you see that panicked, forlorn face that just is sort of pathetic. And that's called body language too. So what is she trying to cover up there? And I firmly believe that she knew this beautiful little girl, 13 years old, Madeline Soto. I believe she knew not only that she was missing, I believe she knew that this dirtbag here on the screen, Stefan Stearns, had murdered her daughter. And I'm not saying she took part in the murder, but I think she knew about it. And how do I know that? Well, I'm reading the body language. I'm reading the fact that she's lied about some really, really important things. If you don't know about anything, if you don't know anything that occurred, what reason do you have to lie? Do you have a reason to lie? I don't think you do, you know? Prying Paula, how do we know she's not the one who committed the murder as far as that goes? Prying Paula, we do not know. And that's Prying Paula from the chat. I'm just looking at the case and the fact that most of the interaction that we've heard of or we've seen so far was Stefan Stearns having the interaction with her, not Jennifer Soto. You know, at one, I'm gonna go into. I don't have the interview from Grizzly True Crime Show to play, but I listened to it, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that she said, as well as play some of the things she said to news stations throughout this investigation. Tracy with Ann, in my opinion, shaking wasn't out of worried for what may happen to Madeline, but I believe worried for herself. Tracy, you could be 100% correct, you know, because she certainly does not have motherly instincts in her body language or her reactions. Carol Johansson, as soon as Stearns moved out in December, Madeline's grades improved. She and her mother started getting along better. There was less tension. Her friend said she was happier. She got Student of the Month. You know, Carol, I just can't even imagine this poor little girl and what she went through in her short life of 13 years and suffering since the age of 9 with that monster. That's a proper term to call his dirtbag. That monster, Stefan Stearns, you know. And the fact that he was living in their house and she couldn't get away from this guy, you know. Just absolutely horrific. So he'll go on trial for the first trial images, the 60 new charges. Those charges based on his phone that he tried to do a factory reset on. 37 years old, living with his parents. What a zero. What a loser. No job. Borrowing his dad's car. Complaining about the poodles at his parents' house. You're the biggest poodle. They should have kicked your ass right out of that house. Complaining about his parents. They pay the bills, you 37-year-old. Don't get me going here, you know. So we're going to discuss some of the statements that Jennifer Soto made to the same detective that interviewed Stefan when he was talking about how many times did he mention McDonald's and you know, dropping her off and she fell asleep and all the bullshit that he tried to sell to that detective. And in the same vein, I think Jennifer Soto, in her interview with the same detective, is lying. Lots and lots of lies. Amazing, you know. Remember she said she saw her leave at 8 o'clock in the morning? She admitted in this interview she never saw her leave. She slept right through it. She didn't even see it. She said she saw her the Sunday night at 11 o'clock. So all of the things that we may have thought were true, they absolutely were not. So folks, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your seats. Hold on to your loved ones. Hold on to your cup of coffee, your glass of wine. Maybe you need something stiffer to listen to this show. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off-the-cuff zone, the police off-the-cuff zone. There has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have the car stopped at 10th and Ranch Microbizer.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger.
You know, one of the first things that the female detective asked Jennifer Soto, and remember, this interview was on 2/27, the next day, all right, the next afternoon, early evening. She asked her, is there a gun upstairs where Stefan stays? And Jennifer right away gave it right up. Yes, there's a gun up, and she called it guest bedroom number 4. This must have been some hell of a house, right? A place they're renting out all the rooms in the house to strangers. Imagine being a young girl growing up in a house of strangers. Doesn't that also open her up to all kinds of nefarious activity? Never mind this big dirtbag named Stefan Stearns, right? So she had readily admitted, yes, there is a gun up in guest bedroom number 4. And in guest bedroom number 4, they also found a tripod and lotion. So was that the room where these recordings were made? Is that the room where the bad things were happening to Madeline Soto? I think probably so. And when we hear her say this rather nonchalantly, and during this interview, and I thank Grizzly True Crime for getting that audio interview from the Kissimmee detective. During this interview, Jennifer Soto sounds disconnected, drugged up, if you will. And she admits at some point, because she was forgetful and not remembering things, that, oh, that might be my medication. And I thought, is this the interview of Stefan Stearns, number 2? Because he kept complaining about the such and such a drug he took kicked in. What an excuse. What a miserable excuse and a miserable excuse for a man. But anyway, she used that excuse also, that, I just took my medication. All right. She claims on the 26th, and that's the day, of course, we know that Madeline Soto went missing. At 0800, that's 8 a.m., to about 08:15, Stefan came into Jennifer's room to put a leash on the dog. And in Jennifer's words, she was nervous that the dog would get nervous and urinate on her bed. That's what she was concerned with at that point, right? So this is allegedly pre Madeline going missing, right? But what we know at 0800 to 08:15 on the 26th, according to Chief Mena from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Madeline was already dead. So this little story that Jennifer told about, he came into the room to get a leash for the dog to take, and I was afraid for the dog that the dog would get nervous and urinate on my bed. So at this point, Madeline Soto's already dead. So you have to ask yourself, did Jennifer know about the fact that Madeline was already dead at 0800 to 08:15 in the morning? And then the story, the Mickey D's, I call it, the McDonald's story. Oh, I was trying to leave earlier because I wanted to take her to McDonald's. But guess what happened at 07:30? That's 7:30 a.m. Well, according to this man, Chief Mena from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, we have a picture of him up on the screen there. At 07:30, Stefan Stearns is seen on surveillance video dumping Madeline Soto's backpack and her laptop in a dumpster at that location. So is that a good indication that the dirty deed had already been done? And we all want to know, when and where was she murdered? We all have our opinions, right? I believe she was murdered sometime during the night, the early morning hours. And then somehow he was able to sneak her body into the car because, according to the surveillance video again from Chief Mena, we believe that she was already dead. Because when he drove out of the condo location, her body was viewed in the passenger seat, leaning to the right with her mouth wide open. So Chief Mena from the Orange County Sheriff's Office believes that Madeline was already dead. So then you have to ask yourself again, did Jennifer know she was dead? What did Jennifer know? When did she know it? And why is she lying? Those are some of the questions that I have. And I think those are some of the questions that many of you still have. Why was she lying? Explore core. Strangulation, over-medicated, and vomited in her sleep. I think it's something more egregious than that. That you're giving sort of an out to Stefan Stearns, and you're giving it out to Jennifer Soto. I think probably asphyxia. And I don't know, again, we all know that they're not allowed to release the results of an autopsy to someone underage in the state of Florida. So that's why none of us know at this point the cause of death. We know the manner of death. The manner of death is murder, right? Murder. Manner of death, just to put my professor hat on again: homicide, suicide, natural, accidental, or undetermined. This has been determined to be a homicide. Death caused by another, all right? Now, the detectives know the cause. The medical examiner knows the cause. However, has not been released to us. Carol Johansson, anxiety medicine isn't meant to be taken when you're anxious about putting your daughter to bed with a predator. That's not when you take a pill, you change your behavior, you remove the predator. Carol Johansson, you know something? We are all true crime aficionados here. Hopefully we're all normal people, if there is such a thing. I have my own craziness. But yes, I believe everything you say there. And people, I think sometimes this world is over-medicated, people take medicine to go to sleep. They take medicine to wake up. They take other medicine to stay awake during the day. So yes, Bo Peep. Jen said they all slept together at times too, so arrest her and put them both on trial. Colleen Williams, she knew because she confirmed the cover-up McDonald's story. She said it was the plan, but it couldn't be the plan if she wasn't supposed to die. Colleen Williams, you're a keen observer of the human condition. Tracy with Ann. Wasn't there ex-girlfriends who came out who said Stearns was into BDSM? Tracy, that may be, but I don't right now. That just shows his character, which we all know is shit. So we don't have to go down that road just yet. We don't have to go down that road just yet. And it may be true, and I'm not doubting it. It isn't true. Sarah reasons, I'm so curious to know where Jen is now. Well, wherever she is, I think she's being hidden, or she's on the down low, as they call it in New York City. Carol Johansson, no child above the age of about 8 or 9, in my experience, wants to sleep with their parents in any way, shape, or form. Unless you're in a hotel or camping, it's not natural. They grow out of that. Carol Johansson, you're very wise. Nadine Malloy waited in her mom's office, went home between 8:30 and 9 p.m. 4 to 5 hours into your 13-year-old daughter missing. Didn't bother going looking. Knew it was pointless. Nadine Malloy, outstanding point. Outstanding point. Amanda Johnson Williams from the chat. Both Jen and Stearns on meds for mental issues. Manny didn't stand a chance with primary carers like that. Agreed. Sarah Maddie, special breakfast at McDonald's, said no one ever. Token, something happened that never happened before and it pissed him off. That's very possible. Well, let's not forget that Madeline just turned 13. Maybe she said that enough is enough. I've had it. I'm not putting up with this anymore. And either he goes or I go. And something, or she was going to tell the authorities. Maybe she was going to tell a teacher. Maybe she was going to report it to one of her teachers at school, or a person of authority, or even the police. And maybe that's what spurred on this monster, Stefan Stearns, to take this, whatever he did, the other thing is, when Jennifer was being interviewed by this detective, she was very, very calm. So calm, and this was on the 27th, when her daughter's body was being found. And at some point, before Madeline's body was found, at some point, the detective said to her, "You're not going to be able to stay in your home tonight. And we also are going to take Stefan's car," because they were going to execute a search warrant for the collection of evidence at the home of Jennifer Soto, of course, Madeline Soto. And specifically, they wanted to process for evidence, as she referred to it, as guest room number 4. Is there anyone in the chat right now that refers to any of the rooms in their house as such? Guest room number 4. Actually, I have a room in my house that I do refer to as a guest room, but we don't have a number on it. So we only have one. So maybe we should call it guest room number 1. Little levity there, a little joke. So the detective informed her, "No, we're going to do a search warrant on your room." And you know what she was concerned about? "Oh, I don't know where we're going to stay tonight." Shouldn't she have maybe have asked, "Why are you doing a search warrant on guest room number 4? A search warrant on our house?" Would a normal person have asked why? "Why are you doing that? At this point, it was a missing person case. Why are you taking Stefan's car?" She didn't ask that. She didn't ask any of those questions. Wouldn't those questions have been a question that a normal person would ask? A normal person that didn't know the answer to what was going on? Jacqueline Ha, Bill, you're killing. Jacqueline, thank you. I'm getting back to my 7 years as a stand-up comic. I still have a few jokes that I haven't told, but this is a very serious topic. So I have to be very careful. I don't want to be too humorous, but there has to be humor because it's so horrible. Sometimes you have to break the ice and put a little levity in there. Tracy, when they're on, "What's your problem? We have a pill for that." Laugh out loud. Isn't that the truth? Well, you can look at it too. It's sort of funny. How do we all wake up in the morning? Coffee, right? unless you don't drink coffee. I'm not saying we all do it. I can't function without my 2 cups of coffee in the morning, So 2 cups of coffee, and what drug is that? It's caffeine, right? The caffeine's going to keep us going, and that's helps us all to get by. Remember the Rolling Stones song? She goes running to the shelter for her mother's little helper, and it helps her through the night, helps her minimize her plight. You guys remember that tune? That was talking about a pill that a housewife, a mother, takes to get her through her day. And that was back in the 70s, I think that song was, 1970s. Unbelievable, right? Kelly Davis, thank you so much for the $4 super sticker. Much appreciated. Absolutely. Token, thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. Bill, please look up Justice Garrett 2018 in Orlando. Almost identical to Maddie. Thank you for all you do. Token, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I just think it's important that we all look at this as human beings, not just as myself, former law enforcement, but as human beings, and see if we think, one of my favorite expressions when I was a police sergeant was, if things don't look right, they're not. Very simple, right? Use your instincts. Believe your instincts 100% of the time. And if they're wrong 1% of the time, 99% of the time, it saved your life, right? I always would say that. Go with your instincts. If the hair is raising up on the back of your neck, there's a reason for that. We're human beings, but we are still from the animal kingdom. And we still have instincts. Flight or fight, right? Scout Inquirer, greetings and big hugs from Rockland County. Hi, Sergeant Bill. Fabulous mods in chat. I won't be chatting, but I'll be listening as I'm driving. You'll be keeping me company. Scout Inquirer, welcome. Good to see you back. Always good to see folks come in that I haven't seen in a while. Diane Wood. They said she had liked a boy and he liked her. Perhaps Maddie said no more and he grew angry. Diane Wood, that's a great point. You know something? I had this case one time when I was a patrol sergeant. And we go to this 16-year-old girl, and she wanted to report that her uncle had been assaulting her. And I'll say in the essay way, YouTube doesn't let us say certain words. Being assaulted by her uncle since she was 13 years old. And it was 100% true. And I had a female partner. Her name was Gigi. That was her name. She's a great cop. And she interviewed the girl, and the girl was Hispanic, so she could also speak to her in Spanish. And what spurred her on to report it was that she had a boyfriend, and she told him what happened. And he pushed her to report it to the police and pushed her to tell her family. So we took the report and we locked up her uncle. You know what happened? The family went against the girl. The 16-year-old girl, they went against her and they said, basically in these words, you should have kept it in-house. Should have kept it in the family. We would have dealt with your uncle. Bullshit, they would have. He needed to be arrested. So what happened to the case? Nothing. It fell apart. Did the uncle get booted out? Who knows? What does that say to that 16-year-old girl? It really says that her mother doesn't believe her and her mother is not backing her. Just absolutely outrageous. El Gee, she let her boyfriend sleep with her minor daughter. She lacked common sense and rationality, among other things. You know something, LG, there's been people in the chat that have criticized me for taking the hard position I take towards Jennifer Soto. I could give two shits because I've seen this before, all right? What I have that many people in the chat don't have is I have a thing called experience. I've seen this stuff, right? And I think that from what I'm looking at, Jennifer Soto should be arrested, And for whatever reason, because the Kissimmee police, the detectives, and I respect the hell out of them. I think they've done a fantastic job with this case. For whatever reason, she hasn't been arrested yet. And they may have a strategic reason as to why they haven't arrested her. yet. Jacqueline Ha, I absolutely drink coffee. Well, join the club. That's true. Explorer Core, hot face cloth and a large tea. There's caffeine in tea too, Explorer Core, right? Unless you're getting the one without caffeine. Carol Johansson, in my opinion, she already knew that Madeline was gone. It's very telling that she says that when Stearns returns, she asked him what happened. What would that mean? Why did she not immediately suspect? Yeah, exactly. And then Stearns doing a tap dance. That's what we call it in the NYPD when someone's lying. They do a tap dance, right? Because they're trying to entertain you. They're trying to take you away from what you see. They're trying to take you away from what you believe, what you see as horrible, right? And Stearns, of course, does a tap dance. And I'm going to play a little bit, and we'll get back to the interview from the detective. But this was from the news back then when they had questions. They got some answers from the police, even back then, before this document, not even document, this interview. And again, Grizzly True Crime had it released via a Freedom of Information law. And I want to give her credit. Thank you, Grizzly True Crime. I listened to your show and I heard the interview from the detective. I'm going to play this right now. And this back then, of course, from Channel 9 in Kissimmee was breaking news.
Breaking in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Why prosecutors are now calling for an investigation into this local sheriff, and how the story Madeline's mother provided law enforcement doesn't line up with what investigators know.
We spoke one-on-one with Jennifer Soto last Tuesday. Good afternoon. I'm Darlene Jones.
And I'm Greg Wormuth. At that point, her daughter Madeline had been missing for 1 day. She told us that Stephen Stearns, her boyfriend and now the prime suspect in Madeline's death, had taken the teenager to school. She said the last conversation she had with the 13-year-old was the night before. But this report we got a hold of today shows she told deputies she saw her daughter the morning of her disappearance. Channel 9 investigative reporter Shannon Butler has been digging into the details.
You know, I want to ask a question. Okay, so she told detectives that the last time she saw her was at 8 o'clock in the morning. And that's a double lie. Because when she told the truth, apparently she saw her the night before at 11 p.m. If she even did see her then. The other thing is that we know from Chief Mena, and I'll put his picture up on the screen, from the Orange County Sheriff's Office that Madeline was already dead. So basically she's lying. Jennifer Soto is lying on two fronts there, isn't she? She lied that she saw her that morning, right? And she lied, I believe, I don't think she even saw her the night before. So why is she lying? That's what you got to ask yourself. Why is Jennifer Soto lying? I think she's either lying to protect Stephen Stearns, the murderer of her 13-year-old daughter, or she's involved in it. Lady Guinevere from the chat, I don't think Jen has all her marbles, and if she does, they're all rolling around in her brain. She is unbelievable. Lady Guinevere, I love your name, and you're absolutely 100% right. Lori Hanley, love my caffeine in the morning. We're still on the coffee. Elena Gonzalez, thank you. Thank you, Elena, for being here. Vanessa Frisson, Madeline actually looked happy at a party, had been gone for 2 months already. She thought she was safe now. Poor, beautiful baby. Okay, Madeline actually looked happy at a party because Stephen Stearns had been gone for 2 months and the monster wasn't living with them. Yes, Vanessa, you're 100% correct. And why does a 13-year-old girl have to fear her mother's boyfriend? The boyfriend should be the hell out of her life and of her house, right? Nadine Malloy was so telling when asked if they wanted the name of the vape shop in case you want to check surveillance, trying to reinforce his alleged alibi. You know, Nadine, you always know when someone's lying when they give too much detail, because they're anticipating questions before the questions are even asked. So when Stephen Stearns started giving way too much detail, that is one big telltale sign that, dude, you are a lying MFer, and I won't say the F word, but you're a lying MFer. And, but you notice they didn't have to. There's a technique to being an investigator, being a good interviewer, being a good interrogator of let the person lie. Let them keep lying. Don't show that you know they're lying. They weren't ready to slap the cuffs on him yet as he was lying, right? And then when they discovered those 1,400 images in his phone that he thought he factory reset and got rid of all of them, when they discovered that, okay, it's time to slap the cuffs on you. And what did Stefan Stearns do once they slapped the cuffs on him? What did he do? He lawyered up. I think I need an attorney. Do you think so? Oh, what made you think that, young Stefan here? These 1,400 images? Or the fact that you don't want to be talking about the murder you committed also, right? What makes you think you need an attorney? Oh, okay. I agree, Stefan, you do need an attorney because we all know as law enforcement and we all know as investigators, once a defendant asks for an attorney, all questions are over. You can't talk to them anymore. The interview is over. But they have everything he wrote down, everything he lied about. They can use that against him in court, right? They can also check all his lies against digital evidence, video evidence, eyewitness evidence. And then all his lies make him look even worse, right? Carol Johansson Stearns, that should have been Jen's first suspect since he was supposedly the last person to see Madeline alive. And well, why didn't Jen suspect him immediately? Carol, I'm thinking Jennifer's involved, and she did. She's covering for him. That is my whole dissertation for today's show, is that I think she knew, and she was somehow complicit in this. Look, a mother that allows her daughter to sleep with a 37-year-old man in the same bed, can we question that she may have been complicit in this murder? Can we question that at all? I don't think we can we? No, I certainly can. I'm saying I think she's involved. And, some of the folks that, Sarah Maddie from the chat, I'm sure law enforcement is keeping a close eye on Jen. It's a matter of time, in my opinion. Sarah, you're so right, because as I said earlier on in the show, there is no statute of limitation. Statute. I'm always told, you say statute, it's statute of limitation on murder. They can take their time. They can wait till both of Stefan Stearns' trials are done with. They can get the death penalty for Stefan Stearns. And then they can break the news. Jennifer, you're under arrest for murder of your daughter. I bet you at that point, if it does in fact happen, she'll be shocked. Prying Polo from the chat, I think she told him no more and threatened to tell on him. Prying Polo, I think you're correct. Pessa from the chat, why do you think Jen hasn't been arrested? Is the state using her as a witness? Pessa, I thought that in the beginning, but I think it might be strategic. Why not wait to try Stefan Stearns for the 1,400 images first that were in his phone, the 60 felonies he's getting hit with, get him a life sentence on that. Now let's try him for the murder. Let's get him the death penalty. All right, he gets convicted of the murder. He's getting the death penalty. Now let's lock up Jennifer. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. I could be right. But as I said, they do not have to arrest her now. There is no statute of limitations. Once you arrest someone, the clock starts ticking. And what clock am I referring to? The speedy trial clock. So if they arrested her now, they would have to go to trial. And the prosecution has a time frame that they have to be ready to take the case to trial. They have no worries right now because they haven't arrested her. Karen Marenti from the chat, the room 4 had a tripod, lotion, and a gun. Yeah, I said that, Karen Morente, very early on in the show, but thank you for reminding me. There's a hangout partitioned off where Maddie hangs in the daytime downstairs across from Mom's king-size bed where they usually sleep. Poor Maddie. Karen, thank you for your comments. Jesse Essex, she liked the boy, but he did not like her. Hey, I liked many girls when I was a young lad who didn't like me. Unrequited love, it's called. It's happened to all of us, right? New York City baby boomer. Does Florida require physicals when school year begins? In New York, we need physicals. New York City baby boomer, I always remember those physicals. Every year you had to go to school. You'd line up, hundreds of kids for the physical of one doctor who worked for the school. And then I used to get my physical with the sports teams, so I didn't have to get it with the whole cattle of. But yeah, New York City baby boomer, I would think so. And I know where you're going with this. Why didn't the school doctors, why didn't the school nurse, any of them see signs of SA on Madeline? I asked that question very early on. New York City baby boomer, thank you for your comments. Vanessa Friesen, she knew and was covering for him. I'm hopeful she'll be charged eventually. I believe you're right. Kelly Davis, I'm with you. Knew that she knew. Some stuff sounds really scripted. Quickly changed from him searching to cruising. Yeah. Elena Gonzalez, thank you for the heart. We all need love. Explorer Kelly Davis, I think she was a borderline tendencies with bipolar. Yeah, I don't think that Jennifer Soto is operating on all cylinders. I think a couple of the cylinders aren't firing. Ogadil, is that right? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Karen Morenti. So she partitioned room, had a tripod, video games, etc. Too disgusting. Yes. Kai Mahalani. Her initial interview when her legs are shaking remind me of Trezell and Jacqueline West, the little boys who were murdered by the father. The stepmother was rocking back and forth. Kai Mahalani, I remember that case. Disgusting. Talk about body language that showed lies and showed people lying. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. If you like real crime, true crime from a police perspective, you're in the right place. And if you're not subscribed to us, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. And now I put the subscribe button right on the screen. Just click that subscribe button. You're a member of the Police Off the Cuff family, and you're a member of our YouTube channel. It's free to do so. If you want to contribute to us financially, we have a Patreon with 4 different levels, and we also have a YouTube channel membership with 5 different levels. And we appreciate all of our friends, our family. This is where you could subscribe to Police Off the Cuff. This is our website. If you haven't gone on our website, please do. PoliceOffTheCuff676.com. That's my old NYPD Shield number. And you can go on the website. There's a lot of cool pictures. I'm still working on the website. I'm not a computer whiz, but I've been working hard on it. And if you want to watch and binge on Police Off the Cuff videos, you can just go to that site, www.youtube.com at Police Off the Cuff. So let's get back to this news station as they interviewed Jennifer Soto earlier on.
Of this case, she joins us live in studio. And Shannon, that's not the only thing you noticed in this new report.
Greg, no one has been charged in Madeline Soto's death, but we do know investigators are looking into who knew what and when. And some of that means looking at those initial interviews of the couple and the ones later on. Sources tell me the statements about the timeline are not consistent.
Jennifer Soto told us last week that the last conversation she had with her daughter was about her 13th birthday party the night before Maddie disappeared.
I told her good night and yeah, that was it.
But according to documents, Sunday night was not the last time Soto saw Maddie. New documents show that Maddie's mom told deputies on February 26th that she saw her daughter getting dressed for school at 8 o'clock that morning, and that her boyfriend then took the teen to school.
But we know now that that's not true. They didn't know that then. We know now that's not true because at 07:35 hours, according to Chief Mena from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Stefan Stearns was seen on February 26th at 07:35 hours throwing Madeline's backpack and her laptop into a dumpster on the property of the condo. And they believe that she was already dead. So now, how do we say that Jennifer Soto saw her at 0800? That cannot be true.
But since that initial report was taken, we learned from the Orange County Sheriff that Maddie was likely dead earlier than that.
Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stefan Stearns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day.
Channel 9 has been going through statements from Stephen Stearns and Soto trying to piece together what happened in the last few hours of the little girl's life, starting with our interview of the couple. Her mom told us last week.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
But in that same
she said, I believe, and let me go back on this, I believe she said we, right? Didn't she say we? Let's play that.
Her mom told us last week.
We dropped her off at school, close to school.
She did say we, didn't she? So there's another lie right there. We dropped her off at school, close to school. So she's covering her lies right there. We dropped her off at school or close to school. She wasn't there. How does she know where the hell he dropped her off? Just by what he's telling her, right?
She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
But in that same interview, then said,
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. But yeah.
Detectives believe Maddie was likely dead early Monday morning because a video timeline shows Maddie's belongings being dumped in a dumpster at 7:35 by Stearns. At 8:19, Sheriff Mena said video shows Maddie in Stearns' vehicle believed to be deceased. Since then, the case has moved to Kissimmee Police, and sources tell us that Soto has been interviewed multiple times by detectives at two agencies, and that they are looking closely at all the statements she's made. But officially, Kissimmee Police won't comment. So this initial report also shows that Stearns told investigators that after Maddie got out of his car, she stopped to look in that book bag before he drove away. That same book bag was found actually in the dumpster. After her death, he then said he went home for about an hour after going to the vape store and running errands. He was home that day until 2:30. Detectives say a tip showed him changing a flat tire not far from where the little girl's body was found that afternoon.
All right, Shannon, it is starting to piece together. Thank you. We also spoke to suspect Stefan Stearns before he was arrested. He also told us he dropped off Madeline for school the morning of her disappearance.
She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said, thanks, love you too. That was it.
Again, law enforcement believes Stearns never drove Madeline to school and that she was already dead that morning.
Greg, also breaking this afternoon, the state attorney's office says it's asking the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to investigate how and why a photo that appeared to be a body in the woods was posted to the Osceola County Sheriff's personal Instagram page. The photo was posted less than 24 hours after investigation.
Well, this guy is in a little bit of trouble for posting supposedly crime scene photos of Madeline Soto's body. Horrific if that actually happened. But I think at this point it's sort of been adjudicated. He basically got a slap on the wrist for that. From the chat, the Thoris, police off the cuff, I wonder when the last time was that Madeline was brought to her family doctor. I just have a feeling that her mother has not brought her since he began sleeping with Madeline. The Thoris, you know something? That's a distinct possibility. And I question, we did many shows on this case, and I asked those questions many, many times. Jacqueline Ha, Bill, I was one of those who really wanted to believe that Jen didn't know. It just feels too weird now. I've been convinced. The weirdest thing for me was those lies about her clothes. Yes, Jacqueline, we didn't even get to that yet, but I'll show that a little bit later. Kelly Davis, Sarah, that sounded rehearsed for sure. Daniel Danielle Colby. I wonder if she used her anxiety sleeping meds to knock herself out so she didn't care. So horrific. Absolutely. Kelly, truly sorry to hear that. I don't know. New York City baby boomer. I believe Maddie's behavior was due to the trauma she had and was experiencing. That medication was to keep her drugged up at night. So SS could, yeah. I mean, I don't want to use that word because, again, YouTube gets crazy with it. SA, we'll say that. Yeah, that's a distinct possibility. Prying Paula from the chat. I wouldn't be surprised if Stern says Jen did it, whether she did or not. Steve Robertson, definitely the 60s, Bill. Okay, you may be referring to that Mother's Little Helper song. Yeah, it could be Rolling Stones. Nikki Sarwell, yes, and I credited Grizzly True Crime with playing that interview from the detective of Jennifer Soto. And it's almost like doing a term paper and giving a reference to her. And I referenced that Grizzly filed a Freedom of Information law request and received the audio interview that occurred on February 27th, 2024. And she gave all YouTube content creators permission to use it. I didn't want to copy or use her video on my show. So I'm giving her credit for letting me know about it. And I listened to the interview. Again, Grizzly True Crime, thank you. Diane Wood, Liar. Sarah Maddie. Thanks, Bill, for all you do. I love listening to you talk. Good old East Coast accent reminds me of my family. New Jersey girl, now in Washington State. Good for you, Sarah. Jersey girl. Got no time for the corner boys. Down the street making all that noise. Got no time on 8th Avenue. For tonight I'm going to be staying with you. Tonight I'm going to take that ride. Cross the river to the Jersey side. Take my baby to the carnival. And I'll take her on all the rides. That's all. That's all I'm going to sing. I usually don't sing on this show, just Coffee with Cannon. But my voice cracked too. I wasn't ready to sing that. It wasn't warmed up. Carol Grayson, again, gifting 5 police off-the-cuff memberships. Carol, your generosity amazes me. You're outstanding, outstanding mod. Thank you for all you do. You really support this show. You really help me so much. Sin, I think that's H-S-I-N. Is that how you pronounce it? Sin? There were times we just all slept together in my king-size bed. Was just disgusting. King-size bed doesn't justify or create safety distancing against that sick monster. She failed her role as a mom. Sin, thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. And thank you so much for your comment. So important. So important that we understand that. This is not normal behavior. It is totally abnormal behavior. Patty O'Grady. I can't even imagine what Maddie was going through, not knowing when that monster would show up in her home. Patty O'Grady, you're 100% correct. Jennifer, did Maddie's school contact her mom when she was absent that day? Not till late in the day. I think she was calling, and I think the school changed their policy that waiting all day to make a notification when a child doesn't show up in the morning is not sound procedure for school. If a child doesn't show up for his first class, the parent should be notified then. And then you could determine whether or not there's a problem. Why is the child missing? Why hasn't the child showed up at school? So I think the school, based on this incident, is changing their procedure. Lily Sunshine at Sin, that was really an odd statement she made. Absolutely. Very odd that she would allow her child to sleep with a 37-year-old man. Rogerio Brito, I really think she's either protecting the monster or she's an accomplice. Either way, she knows what happened. Prying Paula from the chat, like she gave details of her clothing that was wrong, even corrected Stearns with her wrong info. Carol Johnson, her aunt saw her alive at 8:30 p.m. when she dropped her off after the birthday party, which had been at Jen's mom's house. Stearns said he arrived about 15 minutes later. Carol, according to in the interview with Jennifer, she said that Stefan Stearns never showed up at the party. So is that the truth? Or is that also a lie? So these are some of the questions I have also, I mean, one of the best things that I think that we can really watch in lieu of having that detective audio interview from Grizzly's show is to watch the interview she did early on by the TV station, just watching her mannerisms and her body language. WF.
Your first, your last name, and spell them both out for me.
So here she is on the screen speaking to WFTV exclusive.
Jennifer Soto, JENNIFER SOTO.
I don't know why this isn't loading correctly.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer.
It's not loading
Tell me how you
correctly.
feel right now.
I'm going to take this off the screen because it's got to be the video. It's cannot be my computer. But she was being interviewed, and in that interview where she and Stefan Stearns, and the famous, of course, picture from that interview is right here, right on the screen. You see it, and it, she seems so upset and so just, forlorn and her daughter's missing, but it somewhat seems not appropriate, and that again that she's not telling the truth.
Continues to pour through new documents and review audio from accused killer and child rapist Stefan Stearns.
At one point, while detectives were questioning the mother of 13-year-old Madeline Soto, she described the couple's sleeping arrangements with the teen. West 2's Greg Fox is here now in studio. And Greg, this case is becoming more disturbing as we move closer to trial.
It is, and it's important to point out up front, Stearns is the only one charged with sexual assaults and murder. Madeline Soto's mother has not been charged in connection with any of the crimes that her boyfriend is facing. And as you'll see right now, she provides details that helped police build their case.
Documents obtained from the state attorney's office reveal that Stefan Stearns had an on-again, off-again 7-year relationship with Madeline Soto's mother. Those documents also indicate the pornographic images allegedly found on Stearns' cell phone date back at least 2 years and depict vile acts of sexual abuse. In March, detectives provided sworn statements of their discussions with Jennifer Soto and Stefan Stearns. Jennifer Soto stated while they were together, they, Jennifer, Stephen, and Madeline, would either all sleep in the same bed or Madeline would sleep with her when Stefan was not there. When asked if it was normal that Stefan and Madeline would sleep together without her being there, and she said yes. Jennifer Soto stated if she needed a good night's sleep due to her anxiety, she would ask them, Stefan and Madeline, to sleep in a different bedroom. In another statement, Stefan stated Madeline always needed human contact when going to sleep. Stefan referred to it as snuggling. The conversations with Stearns came to an abrupt end when detectives revealed images allegedly found on Stearns' phone depicting sex with the 13-year-old girl.
West 2 News also obtained an audio recording of detectives interviewing Stearns the day after Maddie disappeared.
She's a very good girl. It definitely doesn't feel the same around here if she's not here.
We'll have much more of that interview, all new at 6. Right now, Stearns is set to face trial on 3 counts of sexual battery on a child and first-degree murder.
So just think that Stearns has, talk about a coward, he has yet to appear in court. He hasn't physically appeared in court. Rather, he has his attorney speak for him, put a not guilty plea in for him. But he has yet to show up at court. JPL, Jay the Stelladoro, I had to go back to the beginning. Bill, I just love you and how you put it out. Bless your heart for keeping the conversation about Maddie going. She deserves justice. JPL the Stelladoro, thank you so much. Lisa Kakelachik, I think I said that. Kakelachik. Maddie could have been saved years ago by one vigilant teacher who saw Maddie had no one to care about or failing grades. No one had it on the radar. She fell through the cracks of an uncaring system. Lisa, I think you're right. We talked about that numerous times on this show about mandatory reporters. And what does that mean? Well, certain professions are mandatory reporters. Teachers are one, right? People in education, coaches, doctors, nurses. I'm sure there's a list of many more, but you're right, Lisa. I think that had a heads-up teacher saw this and maybe noticed something and reported it, maybe her life could have been saved. But I know that as we're talking about this right now, there's probably 50 or 100 teachers in the chat. And they know sometimes it's harder to do the hard thing and easier to take the path of least resistance. And I'm not saying taking the path of least resistance is the way to go. I think you have to take the path where it may be uncomfortable to report something like that. But you have to do that. In my role as a NYPD sergeant, I would go to many homes and the call would be an allegation of alleged child abuse. And the patrol officers would call the sergeant to the scene. And the very first thing I would do is interview the patrol officers, what's going on. And they would tell me what was going on. Then I would make my own observations. I would do my own investigation. I would inspect the refrigerator. I would inspect the bedroom. I would inspect the bathrooms. I would inspect where the children slept. And I would make a determination based on also looking at the children, looking at their bodies, with their old injuries, with their bruises, with their cuts. I would interview the parents. Was there signs of intoxication, signs of drug abuse? And then I would make a determination. And the overarching sentence was imminent danger. Actually, 2 words. Imminent danger. Were the children in imminent danger? And if I could justify and say, yes, they were, I would make the decision to remove the children. And I would remove the children from the home. Could that have happened in Maddie's case? Well, if a mandatory reporter would have reported it, yes. Sarah Maddie, I think it was both of them, and they accidentally over-medicated her during their sick play and snuggling. Tracy with an N, bet they are watching her like a hawk. Is she bringing in the same amount of income as she was before Madeline's death? Whereas, is there a drastic decrease in her finances? Eileen O'Neill. So this is about the second person or third person that's asked me this. Did Grizzly 2 Crime get any credit for this Freedom of Information Act? She got it from me. She just gave everyone permission to use it. I didn't use the recording. I just listened to it, and I'm reporting on what was in the recording. So yes, I thanked Grizzly True Crime for filing a Freedom of Information Act and obtaining the interview of Jennifer Soto by the detectives of the Kissimmee Police. So Eileen O'Neill, yes, thanks for the question. Carol Johansson from the chat. I agree, Lily Sunshine. She did not protect her child in any way, shape, or form. That little girl was crying, suffering, falling asleep at school, on and off her medication, and being attacked regularly. The Thoris from the chat. Police are getting all of their ducks in a row, all overwhelming evidence to arrest Jennifer. Simbi, good to see you. Hey, good evening all from the UK, Great Britain. Simbi, great to see you. Vanessa Fries and Jen Soto was definitely complicit. Her letting him have her daughter again, especially at the age of 13, was probably his condition to come back. She better get arrested. She's going to hell too. Wow. The higher power will do more punishment than on earth. Ida Montijo. Gross Jennifer didn't do the takeout. Stefan would not help her. Trust and believe, but she is guilty of serving Maddie up on a platter. See, I think there's more people now, as time has gone on, that now see this and now see the complicity of Jennifer Soto, and now see that perhaps, as we have been saying all along, that Jennifer Soto was involved, and that's what I've been saying since day one. So it's a little bit crazy, but I think that I'm going to play a little bit of this interview of when the police came to the school, not to the school, to when they were actually reporting Maddie missing to the police. And this was the video from Court TV.
Looking for another one. Alright, so people are still on the scene. Let's push that out. Maybe a hot forward page. How long?
So they're ready to report them to the police officer on the scene and describe what she's wearing. And again, I'm having maybe some Wi-Fi problems with this. Let's see if it.
What I was feeling, but I was even feeling really sick inside when I was watching all of this. It's like nothing happened.
This is Court
They're as
TV.
calm as could be. I want you to notice something in his body language. His arms are crossed, Vinny.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That he's guarding something, that he doesn't want to probably let out or tell the truth of what has happened here, because as you and I both know, and everybody else, these videos of him abusing her since she was 8 years old are all over his phone. In addition, is the mom involved in this?
Well, to me, that's a big question. I want to put up on the screen. This is from one of the reports that was released. Jen stated that her and Stefan had been dating on and off for approximately 7 years. So this man's been in Madeline's life for 7 years. Jen stated, while they were together, they would either all sleep in the same bed, or Madeline would sleep with her when Stefan was not there. When asked if it was normal for Stefan and Madeline to sleep together without her being there, she said yes. Jen stated if she needed a good night's sleep due to her anxiety, she would ask them to sleep in a different bedroom. Stefan stated Madeline always needed human contact when going to sleep. Stefan referred to it as snuggling. What's going on with mom here?
This sounds really strange to me, okay? And it also sounds like the behavior of someone that could be a pedophile. And
when you say someone, you're talking about Stefan, or are you talking about mom allowing them? Yeah, I want the bed to myself tonight. You two go somewhere else.
I'm talking about both, Vinny. I don't know, all right? And I have concerns about the mother, and I have concerns about this stepfather. That child has been in bed with both of them, been in bed with the father. She's been all over the place. And it is really, for me, hard to believe that that mother had no idea about what was going on in her own home.
Now, as we've been talking about, they had the photos, right?
Yes.
So they're interviewing Jen, and they show her the photos. Let me put this up on the screen because her reaction is described. Jen did not want to believe that Madeline and Stefan were engaged in sexual activity. It's not sexual activity, it's sexual abuse. A child cannot engage in sexual activity with an adult. Jen asked to see the image of Stefan and Madeline. I pulled out a printed picture from Stefan's Google Drive that showed Madeline, her daughter, with Stefan, her boyfriend's penis in her mouth. Jen said she didn't recognize anything in the picture, as if she was in denial. However, she became visibly upset. In that moment, the reaction is denial, disbelief. She becomes upset, but I'm not seeing anger. Like I would expect, and I don't know if that would, I don't know, but I would expect the turning, boom, in that moment, oh my goodness, he's the enemy.
Absolutely. in a normal experience of abuse being exposed to a parent. The normal reaction is exactly what you said. Anger. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Are you kidding me? But how she behaved is the opposite of that, which leads me to believe that she possibly knew this was going on.
Could there be any other explanation? Could she be
She could be in denial.
like low self-esteem and needs a man in her life?
Well, I thought about that too.
Turning a blind eye?
Yeah, I thought about that too. But I thought about it differently than you. I thought about it in this way. She knows what's going on. He is so aggressive and manipulative and has to have power and control. So he has threatened her and can say to her, if you say anything in there or if you ever speak a word of this to anyone, I will kill you. I've seen this before in cases.
All right, Dr. Sue Kornbluth, great to have you in studio. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Vinny.
All right, let me bring in our next special guest, true crime live streamer, Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to it.
Take this off the screen right now. So look, back a while ago, I don't have the exact date of this interview. Let me see if I could. It's 2 months ago. There were already many people. I mean, you heard that doctor said that, yeah, Jennifer, they may both be pedos, right? Not just one. What she allowed is outrageous. And when she saw the photos, the horrific photos, she had a reaction that wasn't normal for a mother to have. Not, the reaction, according to the doctor on Vinnie Politan's show, was that there should be anger. There should be anger. And just, there was none. There was no anger there. She wasn't angry. And can you imagine that? So there's two ways you could take that. A, as I said earlier on in my thumbnail even, is she complicit or is she just dumb? Well, you can determine that. You can make your own determination. Is she involved in this? Or is she dumb? Or is she both? Is she involved and is she dumb also? I think it's probably a little bit of both. I don't buy any of the, in fact, I'm convinced now that she's involved. And again, we can conjecture as to why she hasn't been arrested yet. But I don't think anyone that watches this can deny that she's complicit. Beware mommy. I bet Maddie wasn't expecting to see Stefan Stearns at the house. When her aunt dropped her off, she was so happy that he was not around much anymore. So that may have made some sort of altercation ensue. Beware mommy, that's a possibility. Again, we don't know what triggered this. Carol Johansson, again from the chat, I think that was a purposeful lie on her behalf in order to make it seem like she had seen Madeline dressed and leaving for school that morning or been on the ride with them, in my opinion. You don't forget, and I don't have it queued up right now, when the police officer was taking the missing person report and he asked Jennifer, what was Madeline wearing? And Stefan Stearns chimed in. She was wearing a green sweatshirt and blue jeans. And Jennifer said she was wearing black shorts. So she either made that up right there or she was mistaken. But it seemed like she made it up because she never saw her leave. So how the hell did she know what she was wearing? And it turned out she was wearing jeans. So Stefan Stearns, who was probably the person who killed her, remembered what she was wearing. So numerous lies. Web fan, hi to everyone from upstate New York. Question, read Jennifer Soto. Why is it taking so long to charge her too? They had Stearns' phone video evidence fast and no charges to the person she allowed near the victim. Web fan, we are all, that's what this whole show is about. And we are conjecturing that possibly that they're going to have both trials go forward for Stefan Stearns, the one for the 60 felony charges, get him convicted of that, and then have Stefan Stearns be charged with the murder, get him the death penalty for that. And then, because there's no statute of limitations, they can then charge Jennifer Soto, if they're going to. That's what I am conjecturing. Everyone wants to know, why hasn't she been arrested yet? Why? And I'm not privy to that information right now. Explore Core. Jen could not get the story they came up with, right? Explore Core. Maybe they did put a story together, and they couldn't remember it well. Token, which means they discussed it. Very possible. Pauline Buckles, remember how ragged his timeline was at first? Now we know so much more. Well, you know, Pauline, one of the amazing pieces of evidence that just is like, to me, slam dunk that he killed her is the evidence of him going up into the hotel, the Holiday Inn parking lot. And it was one of those parking lots on several levels. Pull over, go into the front passenger seat, pull her body out of the car, walk to the back of the car, and dump her into the trunk. To me, that says it all. If I was on the jury, he did it. You know, someone may say, oh, that's not, it's pretty damn convincing to me, right? All the lies he's told. He didn't expect there to be video in a Holiday Inn parking lot that would show him taking a 13-year-old girl's body out of the front seat and dumping it into the trunk of his car. Unbelievable, right? If anyone thinks that's not unbelievable, I don't know what you're thinking then. Jenny B. No one has mentioned this, but it looked to me like Maddie wasn't even taken for haircuts, long uncared for hair. In my opinion, they did not care much about her, among other things. Jenny B., I'm sure that could be a possibility. Amanda Cunningham. The so-called mother needs to be arrested. End of. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Jacqueline Ha. Ick. Stern's mom knew he was a pedo. Yeah, I think she did, right? I don't think anything that he did would have surprised her. Carol Johansson, web fan. If she is arrested, she can demand a speedy trial. And that only gives the state 60 days to prepare all the evidence, whereas they can charge her at any time for the death. Long time. You're right, Carol Johansson. That's exactly, the speedy trial thing is not in effect right now because she's never been arrested. So that could be the position of the state right now. Carol Grayston, become a YouTube member. Thank you, Carol, one of our mods, for everything you do. Wonderful mod, does a fantastic job. Webfan, typo review. Hi from upstate. Question: what is taking? Oh, I read that one already. Sherry Murray, law enforcement probably taking so long to try and build a case on her. Very possibly. Leaf Morgan, women don't bring any men at your home, especially when you have young minors. That's for sure, Leaf. Absolutely. You got to protect your children. Carol Grayston, thank you for gifting 5 police off-the-cuff memberships to very deserving people that I'm sure you chose already, Carol. Thank you so much. Amanda Cunningham, I'm so worried that she was shot. Well, yeah, I would doubt that happened, but it could have. Grammy H, so sad. You bet it is. It's horrific. Bo Peep, I wonder if JS had Maddie start taking birth control pills once she learned Maddie was having her monthly. Wow, you guys are thinking of everything, you know. Maribel is hooked. That mother as much a monster as Stearns. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not buying it. JS said she was first in line with at school. Why? Was she always first at pickup time? I don't believe anything that Stearns says. Charisma, member for 31 months. Thank you. No, thank you, Charisma. Thank you for supporting this channel. Very much appreciated. You know, I'm seeing a lot of new names in the chat, and all I can ask you is, if you like this show, just hit the subscribe button. That's all I ask. Subscribe, join the Police Off the Cuff family, true crime from a police perspective. We don't always get it right, but we get it with our experience and our knowledge takes us. And many shows I have Professor Mike Geary, a retired NYPD sergeant, professor at Albertus Magnus College in Connecticut, and an attorney. Many times I have him on helping me. It's tough to fly solo sometimes, do it all by yourself, but many other true crime creators do it, so I shouldn't be complaining. Karen Sorrentino from the chat. She threatened Stearns with the photos, videos, so he covered for her. They transferred her to his car. They had roommates at the house, so they wouldn't have unalived her there. Yeah, good point, Karen. Ida Montijo, kids come first. Boyfriends and lovers are to be kept far from your children. Ida, you're 100% correct. Your kids do come first. And if they don't, then you're not a very good parent, right? I'm going through the chat. Prying Paula, even if she didn't know what kind of idiot doesn't suspect him after the fact and goes to a hotel with him, gross. Yeah, you're 100% right. Where are they going to stay when they were doing the search warrant on their house? Kelly Davis from the chat gifted one police off the cuff membership. Kelly, thank you so much. And again, all the new faces, all the new friends, all the new people in the chat, thank you so much. Indigo Cupcake, a great little tune. Sing, Bill, Sing. And I don't usually sing on this show. Sometimes I sing on Coffee with Cannon, but police off the cuff is more serious. But when someone told me they were a Jersey girl, I just couldn't resist. Anyway, Donna Hoy, I need 2 cups of coffee, 2 in the a.m. The little yellow pill was Valium. Was that right, Donna? Running for the shelter of the mother's little helper? That's right. Valium. I almost forgot about that, right? That was at one time the most abused drug on this earth. I don't know if it still is. I think there's other drugs now more abused. Joanne Ferguson. Sing it, Bill. Patty L., thank you so much. Kelly Davis, very generous of you, darling. Patty O'Grady, Bill, you always give credit where credit is due. Patty, thank you so much. I don't want to take anyone's information and Grizzly gave permission to use it. And I could have used the video from her show, but I don't want to take her stuff. But she volunteered. So I chose to listen to it and tell you what I heard in the interview. And the interview was the same female detective that interviewed Stefan Stearns. And it was an excellent interview. But if anything that the interview tells us, Amanda Cunningham, are you talking to me? You've lost weight. Are you okay? If you're talking to me, I do, you know what is keeping me in shape? I do 45 minutes of cardio every day on a spin bike, every single day. So I think that's keeping my weight down a little bit. But thank you. I hope it looks good to lose weight. It's always healthier to be lighter than heavier, I believe, anyway. Ida Montijo, Jen is lying. Schools always call immediately. I've been teaching in Florida for 22 years. That's Ida. Thank you for that. It's very possible. Web fan, oh my God, how can a parent allow a strange access to sleep with her daughter? This person is as sick as Stearns and like the movie Precious. Used her kid to keep her man. Oh, I saw that movie Precious. That was horrible, right? Karen Sorrentino, not only did Maddie suffer horrendously on this earth, but now in spirit knowing what her mother did. Emily Parkinson, I would get a call by 9 a.m. if my kid wasn't in school. As it should be, Emily. As it should be. What good is it to get a call at the end of the day? Carol Johansson, the school's obligation if a student has missed a day is to call by 3:45 p.m. They did not call Jennifer Soto until 5:30 p.m. It's unclear why. And the notification should be in the morning regardless. Carol, we're just discussing that. You're 100% correct. Maribel is hooked. That policy of calling parents at the end of the day was dumbest thing. Parents should be called right away if the kid does not show up to school. Maribel is hooked. That's why you're hooked. You're very smart, Maribel. I'm not buying it. Is it possible Maddie was frequently absent from school? That's a possibility. That would be part of the police investigation to find that out. Absolutely. Explore Core in the body cam, Jen said she got an email. She did not mention when she got this email. Thing is, why did Jen leave the school property until she got the details of her daughter at school or not? The big thing I questioned in the interview was why did Jennifer Soto and Stefan Stearns go back to Jennifer's house and just wait there and not join the search, not stay out in the field, if you will. That to me shows that they weren't concerned, or both of them knew what occurred. So why should they search for someone they knew was dead? Why would you do that? You know. So those are some of the questions I have, and that could be why. Carol Johansson, her friends report she was not frequently absent, but was frequently upset, crying, and needed to see the nurse or a counselor. She also fell asleep during class. The poor baby. Yes, that's, you hit it right on the head. Melissa, why did Jen's mother not know what was going on? The woman in her life should have noticed her behavior. They're all sick. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Bipolar, Karen Sorrentino, bipolar and depression is no excuse either. Carol Johansson, they are now going to combine both cases for Stefan Stearns. Both carry the death penalty. They are capital offenses. I'm just going through the chat, guys. Simbi, I like to see you ask a question. I used to fear my dad coming in from a night out after drinking. He didn't even do anything bad. I just didn't like it. It scared me as a kid. So imagine what poor Maddie went through. Yeah, Simbi, that is scary, right? Have an alcoholic parent who's unpredictable. It's very scary. That's abusive, right? Very abusive. New York City baby boomer. She seems more scared than concerned. Yeah. Schmitty, better late than never, Schmitty. Just got here. That's okay. But we're probably going to be saying goodbye very soon. But Schmitty, as I said, better late than never. Lily Sunshine, she seems very disconnected. Kelly Davis, Maddie, we are with you. Voice for the Voices, strategic mission statement, or one of them. Thanks for being that also, Sergeant Bill. Well, thank you, Kelly Davis. Thank you so much. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. I want to try to give a chance to someone that I haven't read. Ann Pierce, we now know there are 3 other roommates occupying 2 rooms. Defense will point to them to cast doubt. Weird bedroom situation. Absolutely. To have strangers living in your house within your own home is, I think, a recipe for disaster. I really do. B, zero motherly instinct, failed by the very person should have been willing to give her life to protect her daughter. You're 100% right. Melissa, it's a shame she did not have someone to talk to. I agree. So did Madeline have her own bedroom? Hard to say, right? It was a bedroom that when Stefan Stearns was around, she shared with him, right? Could her bedroom have been guest room number 4 as described by Jennifer Soto? I think that's a distinct possibility. And the other rooms were rented out. New York City baby boomer. I would like to know how Stearns' mother knew Maddie was being SA. Good question. Very good question. I think all of this will come out. Carolyn O'Gene, her phone pings did not match up with her story. Especially, she visits grandma's work first for 10 minutes, then school, then her mother's house, then the church area, meets Stefan, then grandma's work. Carly O'Gene, thank you for that information. I'm not buying it wrong on every level. Sarah Maddie, that would have opposite effect. Barbara Miller, I think they may be waiting to charge Jen for strategic reasons. See what his defense says. Does he throw her under the bus or otherwise implicate her? Kind of like Adelson. Yeah, I think there's many reasons that we are not privy to right now. But look, they have a really, really strong case against Stefan Stearns. Carol Johansson, you know so much about this case. I'm going to read what you have to say. There were 4 bedrooms in the condominium. Jennifer's parents owned it. She rented out all of the rooms. Maddie had a partition only. No privacy, and your birthday was at your grandma's house. No mom. Sad, Carol. Thank you for that bit of information. Trish Norman, you have anxiety and ask both of them to go to another bedroom. What mother has anxiety from sleeping with their own daughter? As I said, I believe that Jennifer Soto had mental health issues. Lily Sunshine, Jen Soto's mom even said, I don't know why he was there. AKA, he had no business being in that home. She was definitely suspicious of him. Well, who wouldn't be suspicious of a 37-year-old man who doesn't have a job? What's his function in life? And he lives with his parents and he complained about their poodles. The guy's a total dirtbag, just using my New York cop slang. He's a total dirtbag. And there's nothing you could say good about him, Lily Sunshine, I can't blame the teachers. They're overworked and understaffed. It's easy for kids to slip down the cracks. Lily, you're right, but I'm just saying if someone did have a heads up and they were mandatory reporter to make the report, that could have saved a life. Prying Paula, member for 1 month. Thanks for always keeping us today. Prying Paula, thank you so much for being a member of the Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. We appreciate all you guys. Again, folks, I'm going to just do a sort of a, let me put the thumbnail up on the screen. So the new info was released from an interview on February 27th by the same detective that interviewed Stefan Stearns. And my whole question today was, is Jennifer Soto complicit? Or is she just dumb? Or is she both? And I don't mean to be funny by saying that. I really asked that. Is she complicit, or is she dumb, or is she both of those things? I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. It was a little bit of a strange time, 4:00 in the afternoon, to come on the air, but a lot of you guys showed up and you supported Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories, and for that, I so appreciate everyone. And again, if you're not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button. It's right on the screen. I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Have a great night, everyone, and God bless.
One episode just ain't enough.